What's going on, everyone? So, I want to kind of talk about just the Spurs lineup rotation, kind of like what positions are locked, right? Like, and of course, I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions down in the comments as well, because I'm sure we all kind of have our perspectives on like who should start and how they should start it and whatnot. And there are a lot of like different mix and matches as far as like what the Spurs can produce out there. And I do think Mitch Johnson, I do think he will kind of like have different rotations, like especially early on, like especially a team this young, you might as well try to experiment some stuff. So maybe you are going one night with a Fox, a Castle, a Harper, a Wimby, and a Sohan or something like that. Just kind of get a look at it and just see how does this look, right? Or even if it's not starting, right? Because you do want to try to keep your starters at least intact as much as possible. But just the rotations in general, like you can throw out different lineups, different looks. Do something with like a Wimby, Sohan, Harrison Barnes. Maybe like a Julian Champagnie and a De'Aaron Fox. Have like, some real size out there. You have 3-6-8 guys plus Victor Wembanyama and just have that switchability, just defend, switching 1 through 5, kind of have that switchable defense that you're seeing a lot of in today's NBA and stuff. But there's really only 2 spots that I think are an absolute lock, right? And those are the obvious ones. De'Aaron Fox as your point guard, Victor Wembanyama as your center. Right? Or I wouldn't even go as far as say center, just position locked. Like those are 2 of your starting 5. From there, I do think it's very mix and match. Now, the immediate kind of almost obvious one would be a Devin Vassell, right? Because he's kind of the veteran guy. He's the guy you're paying $27 million a year. Right? He's the guy that it'd be hard to justify bringing him off the bench. But also, is that what's best for the team? Right? Like, however, if I had to hey, Tyler, who do you think that I'd probably go with Devin Vassell as the starter at the 2 or the 3? So I think maybe you could argue 3 guys. But even then, I think, it depends. Like, to me, it really depends on the style in which they want to play. Right? You think with De'Aaron Fox, he wants to create that dribble penetration. He wants to apply that rim pressure, kind of kick out to various shooters. Right? Wemby wants to spread out, knock down, shoot 8 threes a game. Right? Like, so you kind of want this almost like 5-out offense, right? Alongside De'Aaron Fox. So that's where like Stephon Castle does he make sense in the starting unit? Right? Because like the 5 that kind of jumps out to me in like my head is like, okay, you're going to go Fox, Castle, Vassell, and then either a Harrison Barnes or Sohan and a Victor Wembanyama, right? But I actually think that there is an argument to be made of just go like Fox, right? Go Fox with like, like a Devin Vassell maybe at the 2, and have that shooting with like a Harrison Barnes and like a Julian Champagnie, right? You kind of go that 5 wide, right? To where, you have basically 3-6-8 guys or I guess 2 6-5 guys and then 2 6-8 guys and Julian Champagnie and Harrison Barnes. Kind of like that. Especially if Julian Champagnie can continue to knock down the 3 ball with the consistency that we've seen him do, right? So now you have De'Aaron Fox who can do his thing, and then you have Harrison Barnes and a Julian Champagnie out on the perimeter as your kind of knockdown 3-point shooters, your kind of 3-and-D guys, and then Devin Vassell can also do the same thing, knock down the 3 ball, right? So I kind of look at that lineup as that might be the best and most balanced starting unit. For me personally, I think any starting unit should probably have Harrison Barnes in it. I just, like, Jeremy Sohan would be great for the defensive versatility, right? Rebounding, kind of that Swiss Army knife type guy. But I think with De'Aaron Fox, with Victor Wembanyama, those are your 2 kind of locks, right? I think you need to have, if you're trying to win games, right? Like what, again, this is where it falls into like, what are the Spurs really looking to do this season? And I think you're going to find out pretty quick. Like, are they trying to win as many games as possible this year? Or are they trying to focus on development? Right? Because those are 2 very different things. Right? Yes, you can do both over the course of the season, but if you're leaning heavily into development, you're probably not winning as many games as you are going like the veteran. Because if you're trying to win as many games as possible, then I think you need to have Harrison Barnes and I think you have Devin Vassell out there because those are arguably probably your two best three-point shooters, right? Both guys can create a little bit for themselves, create a little bit for others, right? Like they can both kind of be versatile in that regard. And then that's where I'd probably lean towards, like I said, a Julian Champagnie just for the 3-and-D floor spacing. Because then beyond that, it's like, okay, well, Jeremy Sohan doesn't give you the floor spacing. Stephon Castle doesn't give that to you either. Dylan Harper, based on what we saw in college and in Summer League, doesn't give you that either. You start going down the list of guys, and it's like, okay, well, who is that? Right now, you could go, and the reason I said maybe you don't go with Wemby at the 5, right? Like, what if you were to move Wemby to the 4, which I am a fan of. I'm a big fan because Wemby doesn't want to play back to the back. He doesn't want to be around the rim. He wants to be more Kevin Durant than Hakeem, right? He wants to take 8 threes a game and jack up shots and do all that stuff. He doesn't want to, be on the block, lock it out, and then just go into work, right? He wants to hang out on the perimeter and jack up 3. So to me, it'd be nice to have maybe like a Luke Cornett down there, or if you want to kind of go the 5 wide route, then you can go with like a Kelly Olynyk, right? And I mean, you could even have Kelly Olynyk as your 4 or whatever, right? Like, but have another big out there that can help rebound. When you're running actions to where Wemby's going to get the kind of the pick and pop action, right? You can maybe have Kelly Olynyk or Luke Cornett kind of hit the court to go get the rebound, right? Like you could mix and match and do different things. And I do think to an extent, it'll vary based on opponents and matchups, right? Like, let's say you're going up against OKC and they're running Hartenstein and Chet. There's an argument to go Luke Cornett to match up with Hartenstein. I like that matchup. And then go with Wemby against Chet. Again, like that matchup, right? So I do think that there are variables, but like, if you're playing the Warriors, and they got like Draymond at the 5. Then put Wemby at the 5, and then Harrison Barnes at the 4, then Champagnie or something like that at the 3. I think it'll really boil down to kind of what are the Spurs looking to do? Because I mean, if they're looking to just develop this year, then just go with Castle in the starting unit and whatnot. I don't like you can still win games with Castle, but I think about like. The lack of floor spacing. De'Aaron Fox isn't this like great 3-point shooter. Like he can be kind of streaky. Wemby can be very streaky. Like so, put those two guys. Put as much shooting around them and spacing, especially with the way that De'Aaron Fox likes to play. It's kind of my thoughts in that regard. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.